Ooh, I like that. Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Richard.
And I'm Noah.
And we are back with what has quickly become one of our favorite topics.
And one of the most popular video series on our channel. One Piece!
One Piece. And,
we're back!
I have finished reading 7, 8, and 9, which I believe is chapters about 50 through 80.
50, I think it's 54 through 80.
1 or 82, yeah.
Yes.
And okay, so
well, let me real quick before we get started. So, two things. One, I know a lot of people come to our channel for One Piece.
Yes.
And, thank you. And if you're wondering where we've been, I'm going to direct you to another video so I don't take up more of your time here. But our Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare video kind of explains where we've been. So the first few minutes of that video should clear that up. But second, I do want to just take a moment because, and I told you this on the phone the other day, if you weren't aware, recently a very popular YouTuber, the Comicstorian, Benny, he passed away due to an accident. And I bring this up, one, because I was a fan of Benny, and I was a fan of the Comicstorian, and he had a great impact and notoriously kind. And he was also in the process of his One Piece journey on his second channel, Mangastorian. So I wanted to just bring it up real quick. There's been an outpouring of love on his channel. If you would go give his channel some love, because he was getting into One Piece and he was enjoying it, and it would probably mean a lot to his crew, his friends, his family, if you would do that. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick, and let's get on to One Piece.
All right. 5, count them, 5 pages of notes. They're not typed double-spaced. I do have to, I'm finding the older I get, even with my new glasses, I have to increase the size. Yeah, a little bit. It's getting tough. It is getting tough. I had to actually, I realized I had to do a lot of research. I had to re-watch our last video. I had to search through my computer to find my old notes because I needed to check a couple of things. And then this morning I had a revelation. You are going to love this.
Okay.
All right. So let's dive into that revelation, because I think you'll find this, really funny. In the last video, I was talking about Usopp as being the character to watch, as the character that I wanted to pay the most attention to, because he's captured my attention, because he's a coward in some points, and he is shows ridiculous bravery in others, and probably neither in the appropriate situation. So his judgment is just a little bit, but one of the things that I mentioned, I brought up, and you really enjoyed this. Oh no, I have my
your old notes.
I have my old notes. I reprinted my old notes because
that's how you know he's taking this seriously.
Well, there was things like, you want to fight, I'm not going to take that from you. Go get up Zoro. That was hysterical. That was from the last one. And I asked the question, is he brave, a coward, or someone who's only willing to fight when he's fighting about something that he cares a great deal about? But the thing that made me laugh was Luffy and Nami and Zoro standing there. Luffy says, I stretch. Zoro says, I cut. Nami says, I steal. And Usopp says, I run. And so what ended up happening was, we see the scene, we've left Baratie, and I'll recap my thoughts on the end of Baratie, but we leave Baratie, we're getting to Arlong Park. Zoro goes from sitting on the boat bandaged up to suddenly tied against a door. I went back and I was looking. I didn't see how or when he got tied up, but he gets tied up, and he's tied up to the door, and Usopp and Johnny, I think it is, see two of the fishmen coming out.
Yeah.
And they bail. They bail on Sanji. They're like Zoro, rather. They bail on Zoro, and they're I'm not going to die today, and sorry, you're really good, and they bail on him, and I got mad. I got mad, and I was disappointed. That's the thing that I realized today.
Yeah.
I was so mad and disappointed about this, and I couldn't even think my way through it at the time as I was reading it, that I called you.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember what you told me when I was complaining about this on the phone? It's the only thing we talked about.
The only thing we talked about, because we don't really talk about the topics of our videos beforehand. We might touch on it a little bit, but not to a great extent. Hi, dogs. The thing I said was, you are seeing the results of the one of the things I said was you're seeing the results of the format of the medium of manga. It is a weekly manga series, so,
right?
So the storytelling and the plot development will be differently because it is a weekly release sort of deal. And
it was the character arc comment.
The character arc comment. It was specifically. When you're writing a series like this in the format you're writing it in, and this is just a result of the format. I'm not praising this or knocking this. I'm kind of middle ground on it, but because of the format and because of how long this series goes on, the characters have very slow character development and slow character progress. You'll get a lot of it when they're introduced. You'll get a lot of it when their backstories are brought up. You'll get a lot of it in some major arcs that are focused on them. But when you have a series that goes on as long as this does, you can't do all your character development in one go.
Right.
Because otherwise, they would become a side character as the series progresses.
And then we'd be disappointed.
And then we'd be disappointed. They'd get some cool action, but there would be no character growth for them.
So I needed to hear that.
It's a slow burn character development. Yes.
But here's the thing that I was laughing at myself for.
Yeah.
Normally, that's not something that I would miss. Normally, that is not something that would escape me. And the only reason that it did was because I had an emotional reaction to this rather than an intellectual reaction to this. And so one of the things...
So you thought it was a character regression?
No,
or you thought it was like abandoned a little bit?
Yeah, I think maybe the character regression would be the right idea. You told me a year ago, and I kind of didn't believe you. I have to admit, I didn't believe you. Not kind of, I didn't. You said there are points in this series where you're going to cry. There's points in this series where it's really going to tug on the heartstring. And of all the characters for me to get wrapped up in, Usopp.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Right.
So I needed to hear that, the reminder that if your character arc is over quickly, then they're static for the rest of the series.
Yes.
Whereas if you have but that slower growth is more realistic to real life.
Yeah.
So that Usopp would run shouldn't really have been a surprise. But I was kind of laughing at myself for how I got caught up in this series.
Okay.
So, and it is too early for him to have such a strong development. So here's the thing. Of all the characters we've come across so far, I cannot really figure out why Usopp's character resonates with me as strongly as it does. Here's my question for
I think I can tell
all of you. Well, let me hear it in a minute, but I have a question for everybody out here is, I would love to know if other One Piece readers have had similar reactions to other characters. And if the answer is yes, which character and why? I really would love to know the answer to that. And then I'll pose it to you. Is there one character that just really stuck with you that made you watch them?
Robin, you know why.
Okay.
You all know why. Every single one of you knows why. You'll understand when you get there.
When I get there.
Robin is the character that I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one I resonate with. And
and
in terms of this character story, they'll know why. In terms of, because you get invested in her either way.
Try to answer my question without too many spoilers.
Yeah. Let's clarify that. Try not to challenge it. If there is a character that you resonated with, though, try to explain it in a non-spoilery way. But Usopp's an everyman. Usopp does resonate with people. People who pay. I've noticed this because I do watch. There's a trend growing on YouTube where book and literature YouTubers are reading One Piece and loving it. So congratulations, you're on board the hype train.
Okay.
You're joining the ranks of tons of other literary students, scholars who are jumping on this One Piece train. And I know they're fans of it because I've seen your comments. You validated a lot of feelings. Knowing a lot of them do really enjoy Usopp as a character, and because they read into him more. Because in a world where you've got Zoro, who is nearly sliced in half and survived, and Luffy, who's stretching his arms and punching a cape made of spikes and still going.
He's Hawkeye.
He's the human character. He's the character. Even Nami, who is like a normal person in comparison to the other two. Here's a minor spoiler, but it's more of a fan thing. Sanji, Luffy, and Zoro are called the Monster Trio because they are so strong and they get so ludicrously powerful, and they're fighting such powerful opponents that they get dubbed the Monster Trio. It's usually mostly a fan term that is it's mostly used by fans, but and then Nami, Usopp, and later Chopper, the reindeer, are the coward trio because they're always like, you guys have fun, we're gonna stay back here where it's safe.
Nami,
okay, so as the series progresses, Nami doesn't have like a specific, because Nami is a thief and Nami is a navigator. Nami doesn't have a power set that develops as much as the others on the crew.
Okay.
So she's not a frontline fighter. She's more intellectual. She does get more powerful. Don't get on me, but trying to keep this spoiler free.
Okay.
The thing is that in the world of people doing insane things, Usopp doesn't really have the physical growth that other characters in the cast have. He's the everyman.
Okay, and that might be because the everyman resonates with me. Oh,
and that's what I was getting at.
Right.
You know that the everyman characters resonate with you when they are explored, and I think you'll like Usopp's story going forward. I think you'll really like Usopp's story going forward. Well, you all know what I'm talking about.
I know that from walking into your mom's craft room where she was binging anime. I know some of what happens in the future. I don't know a lot of the details because honestly, I would walk in, I would take care of my business, I would leave.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for something here, and I don't know that it's worth finding. But so in Arlong Park, Nami's such an accomplished fighter with her bow staff. And apparently this thing comes in pieces and she stuffs it down her shirt.
Yeah.
So there's a scene where she's reaching into her shirt. And because I have a problem with the action in the manga, rather.
Yes.
I frequently look at pages where there's fight scenes. I have no clue what's going on.
I'll be honest, it does get harder to read, especially early. It doesn't quite flow as well as it does. I think the middle of the series is the best for action.
Oh, here it is. So it's in for anybody who wants to check this out. And you might be able to throw it on screen. Chapter 74. This picture right here, where honest to goodness, I thought she had adamantium claws that she was pulling out, and then seeing her with the bow staff here, I really wait a minute, that's got to be like
it's skipping over the
piecing it together, right? But I mean, she is more than capable of defending herself.
She is more than capable of defending herself. So when you see the scale of the threats that escalate, they go beyond what
she's capable of doing.
No, naturally capable of doing. Again, she grows, she develops, she gets stronger, just like everyone else on the crew, but the main fighting is left to the monster trio, who are the powerhouses.
The powerhouses. Well, there's got to be a few. So let's roll it back.
Let's roll it back.
We'll pick up with my notes because this thing just took off running.
No, that's fine.
This could be long. Right?
That's fine. I don't think they'll complain.
Luffy has wisdom beyond his years.
He surprisingly does.
For an idiot, he surprisingly does. For as naive as he is, he appears to be simple-minded, but he's not. He's just quiet. And he's goofy.
In a way.
Right.
He's
okay.
Very quiet.
So he yells at Sanji in chapter 50, getting killed is not a way to repay your debt. He didn't save your life so you could throw it away. Only a coward would do that. I mean...
But do you notice what was put into the manga at that point? Because I just read that chapter when I was rereading it, and I noticed, as he says that, there's a panel of Luffy... There's a panel of Sanji, and then in between them, as he's saying that, is a panel of Shanks missing his arm. Yeah.
All right, I'm glad I put page numbers down. I put page numbers. I cited everything. Chapter and page.
Oh, yeah.
How did I miss that?
I
didn't catch it. Oh, my goodness.
So he's not... He's speaking from experience. He's speaking that way because he knows. Isn't that... I didn't notice that my first time, too.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I'm
rereading and I'm picking up these details that I missed like my first few times.
Oh, you know what?
Noticing these great details that I didn't see the first time through.
Got to invest more time in prepping in advance.
No, it's okay.
Kind of jam this one in.
No, that's the beauty of it. People will read through and they won't notice this, and then they'll go back and reread it a second time. And they'll notice
that thing of beauty.
Yeah.
I was almost going to say that wasn't in my copy, but...
No, it was right there.
A short time later, Luffy says very confidently to is it Don King? Don Krieg. Krieg. That's it. Don Krieg. I put DK in.
DK, yeah.
I forgot what it's called.
Donkey Kong.
That keeps running through my head every time I type DK. To be totally honest with you. He says, Humph, you're not tough. There's just so many of you. Sanji replies, you hit him where it hurts. And Luffy very calmly says, because it's true.
Yeah.
He has absolutely no problem with very simply speaking his mind and just letting the chips fall where they may.
Oda says Luffy doesn't think. He says whatever comes to mind.
Yes. Now, the pirates respond...
And he intentionally doesn't give Luffy thought bubbles. Other characters get, like, faded thought bubbles.
Right.
Where their internal thoughts are.
Right.
That's the faded ones. Luffy only has a few throughout the series.
Really?
Yeah, it's an intentional...
That's an interesting...
by design. So, sorry if that's spoilers, but he doesn't... He basically, whatever comes to Luffy's mind, he says.
What crosses his mind, it crosses his mouth.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've always enjoyed people like that. And one of the things...
So you contributed to the birth of one.
Maybe that's why I've enjoyed so many, because, you know, this is interesting. I have been an adult leader in youth scouting programs since 2008. Mm-hmm. And the kids that I enjoy the most are the kids who make their parents just cringe, who the parents are constantly trying to apologize for them, to the point where I have to say, you need to leave the room. I've got this. I've got this handled. Myself and my other leaders, we've got this. Just go. Yeah. Right? Because otherwise, they're constantly quashing their kids and not letting their kids be themselves.
Yeah.
And the kids that have no filter are so much fun.
Yeah.
They are great. The pirates respond, which what I thought was vintage Three Stooges. We'll kill them to death.
Yeah.
Just thought that was great. Don Krieg asks Luffy, now I ask you again, which of us is king of the pirates material? And Luffy says, me. You don't have what it takes. And I thought, think of who he's talking to with the reputation that guy has. And Luffy very calmly says, you don't have what it takes, right? Luffy says several times in this, and he says it in the final battle, he says, this isn't my place to die. And it almost suggests that he either knows when is his place to die, or he's going to know when it's place to die. And sorry for the little wiggle on the camera, but Studio Dog just got up and walked away.
Yeah.
Baratie got very, very long for me in the book form.
It does get very long towards the end.
It never ended.
Yeah.
And every time you thought you were at the climax of the battle.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know the plot diagram. I've taught it for years, right? So every time you think you're at the climax, you're actually at a step up on the rising action, and it's like that, dude. So if I have a complaint for Oda, he doesn't know when to stop these things.
I'm not to defend that, because I have issues with that as well. It is also a trope in shonen style battle manga.
Okay.
That it's a problem with the genre. Okay. It's something that I despise about the genre. That's not a defense, but it's a reason, not an excuse.
Gotcha. Okay.
A reason, not an excuse.
You know what?
It's just the style that it is. But yeah, I am also not a fan of the, well, now I'm on my third form.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's just, he should have defeated this guy like 5 chapters ago. Let's go.
But yeah. So,
anyway,
Chef Zeph makes an interesting observation in regards to Luffy. And he says it to Sanji. He says, even a man bristling with powerful weapons can be skewered by the spear of blind grit. I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who just have grit, who tough it out, who just battle their way through it and make it to the other side. They may not always come out the winners, but oh my goodness, does it take grit to get through some of that stuff. And and those are the characters that I seem to enjoy the most. I wonder if Usopp is that character or becomes that character. There's a thought to trace through the rest of the series. The falling action of Baratie, and I actually was I was trying to mentally plot this out. The falling action of Baratie is Jin picking up Don Krieg and carrying him off, observing that they should take their loss like men and start over from nothing. I thought that was a great line, and it also brilliantly leaves the possibility of a second battle later in the series. Don't know if it's going to happen or not. You do, we'll see. I see your look. That look is the warning, don't say anything. Right? Am I right? I'm right. Okay. The resolution...
That's exactly what that is.
The resolution is Sanji leaving. And I knew that Sanji was going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of the anime. I saw the live action. But I tell you what, if I read Crap Geezer one more time, I was going to light my book on fire. Oh my goodness, did that get old?
Yeah.
And I realized this is a community where emotions are avoided at all costs, and so they try to hide it.
Yeah.
With, all that other bluster and everything. But like the battle never ending, it got tedious and overdone. And so what I really enjoyed about Baratie, what I really enjoyed about the ending of this whole thing is that Jin doesn't allow Pearl to kill Sanji because both Jin and Don Krieg owed their lives to Sanji.
Yeah.
And so he'll kill Sanji himself with his bare hands. I understand the respect there. But then in chapter 61, Jin breaks and he says, I can't do it. This is the first time in my life that anybody was ever so kind to me. I can't kill this man. And I suspect that is going to be a running theme through this entire series. The first time the characters experience kindness. We see in Arlong Park that Najiko makes the observation that friendship is like the death knell to Nami. It is the thing that she avoids, and yet Nami for all of her bluster. You guys are rookies. You guys are. She just berates them, trying to push them away until she's on her knees sobbing, and she says, "Help." And the interesting thing about that, and we go back to Luffy's. And if you need to say something, jump in.
No. I just need to handle that because that's like the moment that the help me moment. Like, I was all aboard One Piece when I started One Piece.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I was like, oh shit, I like this. I have 1,000 episodes to watch. But that right there was the moment that helped me, and it's the moment for a lot of people. People say it's the moment One Piece gets good. That's BS.
One Piece got good from the first chapter.
Thank you.
Yes.
But that is the moment where you realize what this story has to offer. That is the moment that is the deep hook for a lot of
people. Okay.
Yeah, that is the moment that makes you go, oh, wow, this one's gonna hurt. You know, that's that first look.
Gotcha.
So it was the first moment that made me cry watching One Piece.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
And it's great in the live action. Don't get me wrong. It's great in the live action. It doesn't hit as hard as reading it or watching it for the first time. And if you're watching the anime, it is, again, the manga to the screen, and it cuts music. There's like dramatic music as she's stabbing herself.
Right.
And then Luffy grabs her and it cuts. It just cuts. It goes quiet. If I remember the anime correctly. It goes, there's no background music, there's no nothing to emphasize it. To emphasize the moment. It just hits different.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Where she stabbed.
Yeah. Because so.
Sorry.
All of this. No.
That moment's the moment that just hits hard.
It. Unfortunately, and this is why I am so looking forward to getting into new territory.
Yes.
Right. I really am, because I've seen all this stuff before.
Yeah.
That one didn't hit quite as hard. There's stuff earlier on that hit harder.
Yeah.
But when this whole thing was fresh, if some people are saying that this chapter 80 moment is when it became real, you missed a lot in the first chapters. But yeah, everybody reads it differently.
Everyone reads it differently.
But Luffy was waiting for permission to get involved.
Yes, he was.
It was such an interesting thing to watch.
Thank you. It is exactly what he was doing.
He was waiting for permission, and he was standing there being a loyal friend, watching the friend struggle until the friend who had been pushing away finally said, "Okay, help me." And then you see Battle Luffy, right? Okay, one of the monster trio. So Jin asks Don Krieg to spare Baratie. That was the moment, and this is where I just sat back and I said to myself, Sanji's feed everyone regardless of their ability to pay rule has benefits.
Yes.
And when I mentioned that in our last recording, I don't know if I said it or not, but it was this idea of, is that intentional, or is that just an unintended positive consequence of a moral standard by which Sanji lives? I don't know if we get the answer to that. I don't know if he's playing people or if that's just who he is. I suspect it's just who he is.
It's just who he is.
And
that's what his backstory kind of
leads up to.
So the backstory of Sanji is essentially showing that Sanji knows what it's like to starve.
Okay, yeah, yep. I didn't put it together that obviously, but yes, it does.
That's the reason why he feeds everyone regardless of whether they can pay. And I don't remember if Zeph ever directly comments on it. I think he does, but I couldn't pinpoint where. But I think Zeph mentions it to other cooks at some point that Sanji knows better than any of the rest of them, and that's why he's the sous chef.
I'm going to have to go look that up.
I might have to go look that up.
So
it's if I remember correctly, that's in there somewhere, and he does. He knows what it's like to starve. He knows what it's like to go hungry, to go without food, and he won't let other people go through that.
So I understand why lit people would really get into One Piece, because so you know that there's books that I've been teaching for years, and I do try to add to that and bring fresh stuff in.
Yeah.
I also take long gaps between teaching certain books so that I have to go back and reread it.
Yeah.
I just redid Around the World in 80 Days recently, and it's always good because I am always learning new things.
Yes.
And this is a series where you have to take notes.
How the tables turned, or the turns tabled, as the kids say nowadays, because I'm the one rereading all the books now and picking up those details.
Right. So I decided today, I don't know if I should say it or if I should just wait, but
No, keep going.
No, I realized I need a notebook. I need to start like hole punching these papers and putting them in and just adding to it, because one, there are so many characters like Yusaku and Johnny. I forgot where they came from. I had to go back and I had to look, who are these, and so, and a panda shark spits them up on land. I'm like, where the hell did this come from?
Only the mind of Ezra.
Oh, yeah, I know. When I saw Panda Man.
Yeah, you saw Panda Man.
I'll save my thoughts on that for just a moment. Nami has balls. I don't know how else to say it, right? She's leading the life of a double agent.
Yep.
She's very clear about what she wants to accomplish, but I don't think anybody appreciates. How do I want to say this? I don't think Arlong appreciates how easily she would take him out if she could. And it's because he's so arrogant and believes that no human could.
Yeah.
He doesn't see her as the threat that she really is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Zoro taking out all of his henchmen. Oh my goodness. I flipped the page and I see all those bodies and I'm like, they didn't even show it. They just showed the after effect,
Yeah.
And he's so casual about it. But he's an established bounty hunter, and he's an established fighter. So it really...
And then we got past that point, right? Because Zoro joins them later. You get to the point where Arlong comes in, beats down Zoro, picks him up, and then looks at the bandages and goes, how is he still alive? I believe that's it. Or it's late. Or it's coming up.
It's coming up. I'll find out.
Coming up.
I
already told you that was coming up, because they cut it from that, and this scene where he beats up everyone is cut from the live action.
So Arlong tells her that she's different from most humans, but he still thinks humans are sub-creatures, and she looks at him. He calls her an esteemed colleague. I thought that was a very interesting word choice, and she replies, "My brain's just different from yours. It works." And he doesn't see the insult. Mm-hmm. He doesn't respond to the insult. He doesn't stand up and say, "How dare you," or remember who you're speaking to, or anything. She has a point. She sees his flaw, and she's got the confidence to say that. Now Zoro figures out very quickly that she's not against them.
Yeah.
So much so that he jumps in the water while he's still tied up, knowing she's not going to let him die.
Yeah.
And she jumps in, she saves him, and while he's on the ground on the other side of that pool of water, he says, "What kind of cold-blooded witch woman can't stand to see a man drown?" He had her.
Yeah.
He had her
dead to rights.
Dead to rights.
He knew.
And in her response, she stomps on him.
Yep.
Right? That's just, all it was a temper tantrum, right?
Yeah.
She got caught. The Nami killing Usopp. I mean, that I knew that he didn't die, because I knew that
yes, obviously,
because of the stuff that I've seen before. But I also couldn't figure out how he was going to survive. So when later in the story you see that she's stabbing her own hand, even though she stood there with blood,
yeah,
it it was so masterfully drawn. It was so well hidden.
Yeah.
And I reacted emotionally instead of reacting. I reacted with anger, I think, a little bit. But Luffy, in his steadfastness, says there's no way Nami would kill Usopp. She's our shipmate. He's got this very simple an understanding of everything.
Yeah.
So my question is, Luffy's character the established character whose growth arc is completed and he's studied through the rest, or are we going to see something that challenges him later? And you don't have to tell me what it is.
Yeah.
But your comment on the phone was so clear.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Luffy's I've kind of mentioned this. I think I mentioned this all the way back in the OG video that started this insane journey. But it's a point that someone made. Luffy's journey is not the story of a boy to a man. And some people, no, I can't finish that quote just because it is spoiler territory. So I'll put it this way. His journey it's not the journey of a boy to become a man.
Okay.
It's the journey of a man becoming a king.
Ooh. I like that.
He is a naive kid. There is things he has to learn about the world. There is things he has to do. But his character growth is different. He has an idea of what it means to be a pirate. He has a standard that he has seen that he is trying to live up to and live his life by, that of Shanks.
Okay.
And so he knows how to go about his life. Shanks was in that village for a year. He got a lot of time to watch and learn from Shanks.
Okay.
He knows that is the type of pirate that he wants to be. And so his journey isn't about discovering how to be that pirate. He already knows how to be that pirate. The journey is, how do I become king?
Okay.
That's his journey.
Gotcha.
So it's different.
No, it's considerably different.
It's considerably different.
And far more entertaining than the dude from Dune trying to become Chase.
Woof. So that's the best way I can put it. Yes, he has character development.
Okay.
And yes, he has a lot of room to grow.
I appreciate you trying to do this without spoiling anything.
Yeah, but I think that's the best way. Yeah, because I've heard people say that quote that he's not a boy trying to become a man. His journey is that of a man to, and then they use a different term, which I'm not going to use, but I'm going to use king, because obviously that's his goal. His journey is to become a king.
King of the pirates.
Exactly.
I mean, there's always been a stated goal.
Exactly.
All right. The other thing that I always kind of talk about, always our third video, is the
extras.
The extras.
Yeah. The SBSs and the extras.
The stuff that's in here. The 7, 8, 9, not quite as entertaining as 1 through 6.
Nah.
So I was a little.
SBSs are fun.
Well,
but not quite.
SBS.
That's the question and answer. The Q&A.
Oh, I don't like the question. And they've become stupid, ridiculous, and I skipped a bunch of them because they're just stupid. Not worth the time to read.
They do. Sometimes you do get lore bits. Like one of them that I liked from this section is someone mentioned that in way back in the beginning, when the mountain bandits come in to beat up Shanks and his pirates and like do that, they break the floor, and then later, in a later panel, the floor is repaired.
Okay.
And someone said, "What happened there? What happened there?"
Dude, my goodness,
dude.
Wow. If you had smell-o-vision. No, don't. No. And the dog is wagging. Oh my goodness, that was bad. Anyway,
Anyway, someone asks how did the floor magically get repaired or what happened there? And Oda replies, "Oh no, that's the village's master craftsman. He can't walk by a door or anything else that is damaged and not have to finish it." Totally not my mistake at all. And then he draws the little craftsman on the bottom of the page
to cover his mistake.
Exactly. It's a fun way of doing it.
So I finally started to piece together the chapter cover art, because in this book, the chapter cover art is Richie's crew, and it's Richie's pirate crew fighting and losing to the indigenous Kamati tribe and almost getting turned into Richie Alvin, which I thought was hysterical. And then in parentheses, stewed in red wine. That was such a funny touch to put the translation. I mean, I really enjoyed that. But this is the first time in all of these chapters that I realized what you've been trying to tell me is that all of that cover art tells a story.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit confused by it.
That was the remnants of Buggy's crew.
Okay.
And then Richie, I think, is the lion.
Is the lion.
Yes.
And so I thought I saw them all getting killed, and then they're all... Right, so he comes back and he puts his body back together because the Kamati tribe has everybody in the pot, and there's legs and feet, there are legs and arms there.
I think it's Buggy's.
They are, and then they pop up and start fighting. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he eventually gets put back together when he arrives with the chick with the black jacket.
Yeah.
Right, which I'm waiting to see. Is that Robin?
No.
Okay. I think I've asked that before.
Yeah, it's not Robin.
Okay. So anyways, I'm trying to figure out who this chick with the black jacket is. I'm hoping we find out who she is. You will. She's always quiet in the background.
You'll find out after Arlong Park.
So, am I going to keep going? Well, I've got the next book waiting at home to start tomorrow, possibly tonight. And I will, now that I'm starting that, I will order... So I'm going to do 10, 11, 12. I will order 13 through 15 tonight when I get home.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting into new territory. Somebody in comments, mentioned that here, just recently, and thank you for your patience while I get caught up, but I do have to go through all these things.
Yeah.
And
after Arlong Park, it's all new territory.
Well, and that's good.
After Arlong Park, it's all new territory. There's an entire mini arc that happens before they leave this East Blue saga, before the East Blue saga ends.
Okay.
There's an entire other arc that was just skipped in the live action that you haven't seen and is actually really good and actually has a really good Luffy character moment that I can't wait to see your reaction to. Cool. So I'm excited for you to get through Arlong Park.
So I hope my observations didn't disappoint you or anybody out here.
They're good. I enjoy them. Again, you're retreading old ground, and you're seeing some of the details.
Yes.
Honestly, I think Baratie was trimmed down for a reason.
Well,
I can totally see.
Yeah, I can understand why they did.
But I'm not against it. But we're gonna get into some good stuff. I'm excited.
Oh.
I'm excited. It is fun to get your perspectives and see the things that you pick up and the things that you are keying in on. And it's fun to go back and read it again. And I wasn't as well prepared for this one as I wanted to be. It's been very busy, and I did about half of the Baratie chapters.
Okay.
And then I got a few of the Arlong chapters. Right. So I'm missing a chunk in recent memory. That's how I picked up the whole Shanks arm when Luffy is talking to Sanji.
I missed that.
He's speaking from experience.
I need to go back and add that to the notes because that really is a crucial moment.
It actually is. It's a crucially highlighted detail. It is a crucial detail that I don't hear people talking about.
I need to slow down my reading and approach this. I need to try and focus as much attention on the art and on the panels as I do on the words.
I will say it. Obviously, it's a visual medium. I agree with you, especially in the early chapters. The still non-action scenes,
I
follow no problem.
Right.
The action sequences, I have a hard time following.
Okay, it's not just me.
The action sequences, there is a skill for manga artists to consistently choreograph action.
Right.
Like, there actually is a skill to it. And make it flow through the panels.
Right.
I'm not sure if Oda had that quite down in the early chapter.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
But, I'm not going to fault a man for being less experienced when he's delivering great,
25 years worth of great work, and
Yeah.
So I'd love I love your comment. Of all the videos that we do, I look forward to these the most because I love your comments, I love your thoughts, I love your observations. I am grateful, truly, for your patience with us and the fact that you're tuning in and taking this journey with us, because so many of you have already done this journey or are watching other people do the journey. So I really hope that we are offering something of value as I go through this. And I have to say, I haven't lost my love for this. It's just fun. This is really good. That's it. That's what I got for we're done with Baratie. We are in Arlong Park, and we're moving forward.
Nice. Yep. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, as always, keep your comments as spoiler-free as possible, please and thank you.
And it would be silly to ask for you to subscribe because most of you already have. But if you if this is your first trip here, go back and watch our One Piece stuff.
The entire playlist. Probably be at the end card.
and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
Next week is Fall Guy.
But next week we are recording 10, 11, and 12.
That is true.
Yes. So we're actually going to have a One Piece really quickly.
Yeah. Bye!
That was good.
That was good. It was long, but it felt a little disjointed, but at the same time, it felt a little chaotic and more like random thoughts that were fun. I enjoyed it. I was having fun.
I skipped from the beginning of my comments to the end of my comments, then went back again because the conversation flowed that way, and I don't think anybody cares.
I don't think anyone cares. I think they just want to hear your reaction to what's going on.
Yeah. I really enjoy your reaction to the observations that I make when I've noticed something you've noticed, or I've noticed something that you think is important, and then you